News with Gina.
The News with Gina Grad.
So Utah Senator Mitt Romney split with his fellow Republicans and voted Wednesday to convict Donald Trump of abuse of power. And he made history as the only senator to vote for a president from his own party to be removed from office. And he was the only senator Wednesday to break ranks with the whole party in general. Since Republicans control the Senate and Romney was the only one to vote against Trump, the president was acquitted on both articles of impeachment. But Trump had some thoughts about Romney breaking rank. He did tweet, quote, had failed presidential candidate Mitt Romney devoted the same energy and anger to defeating a faltering Barack Obama as he sanctimoniously does to me, he could have won the election. Read the transcripts.
Well, I don't like that Mitt Romney because in junior high he held down a gay guy and cut his hair, and then he took a road trip with the dog tied behind the car and dragged the dog. And then he also keeps women in binders.
Oh, my God.
Like his files.
Oh, yeah,
binders.
the binders full of women.
Women should be in binders.
Where he got his name,
by the way.
They should be bound.
How funny is it that the same apparatus that was trying to hang all that shit on Mitt Romney, it's like, well, look what happens when somebody who's a fucking coat hanger shows up. Like, this is why you shouldn't try to do it with Romney. That guy didn't do shit to anyone, and he's just a fucking Mormon guy who's been married to the same woman for 57 years.
Aquabats fan.
When you're trying, he put women in binders. You're like, yeah, okay, don't try it on the regular guys or the good guys, because now you lose some momentum when you have a good subject like the current president to do it. You don't do it to everyone. Just go, I disagree with his policy.
Yeah.
This I was like, he did what with binders?
Binders
with
full of women?
Binders full of women? Like, yeah, he's answering. He's saying he took a lot of applications, but
look what you get.
Anyway, he's back.
That's right. Well, Kirk Douglas has died.
Is he quietly a super good-looking guy? Mitt?
Romney?
Yeah,
handsome fella.
He looks like a character in a comic book.
He plays in an 80s movie. He would be cast as the politician, right?
Right. But I don't think that makes him ultimately attractive to women in general. But he does have that character.
I think he's good. I think he's held back a little by the Republican status and a little by his religiosity and stuff. But if he was kind of joined Gavin Newsom in San Fran, got a little Brill cream out.
Oh, he has the Brill cream out.
I mean, the slick. Mitt Romney, when he's 70 years old, right?
Waft.
Yeah, when he was 37, he must have been a.
He looks like a plane captain.
He totally does.
He looks like a pilot.
But those guys are good looking.
Yeah.
Like he's an attractive
Especially
guy,
compared to the room
genre.
that he's in, the other people that he's that are surrounding him.
Right. The McConnells and
Yes.
He looks a little better than that guy.
Go, I don't know, but I'm curious. At age 25, was he a stud? He looks like the guy who has the bones of a stud.
When he was beating up minorities in high school,
holding them down, cutting their hair for the crime of being gay.
Anderson knows, and listeners of the Film Vault know, there's a documentary called Mitt that I bring up a little too often.
Brian loves his Mitt.
It's a really good documentary streaming on Netflix. You can watch it right now. It's called Mitt. It's a profile of Mitt Romney. And when I saw it, I was like, Alan, about the binders and the way he was made out to be. He's a very, at least for the 2 hours that I watched him, a very decent, very principled, nice guy. I don't think he fits in, honestly, with a lot of the politicians and whatnot.
No, I agree. But
he's looking really decent.
Well, he knew the cameras were rolling, Brian.
True, you have to take that into account. Yeah,
the binders thing was just. I
don't know what
You didn't get past it.
I don't know.
Oh, look at that
was.
handsome fella.
That's Mitt at in college or 25 or something like
that. Him on his mission, probably.
Oh yeah, probably on his mission. You're right.
Yeah, his mission was to break hearts. I'll tell you that. He's a good-looking young dude.
Brian, you watched the doc. Do you know what his real name is?
Isn't it something like Mitchell? But it's anyway.
I assumed Mitchell was Mitt for Mitchell, but no, Willard Mitt Romney.
I did not know.
He looks much more like a Mitt than a Willard.
That's true.
Well,
yeah.
So Kirk Douglas has died 103 years old. The veteran actor and father of Michael Douglas was born in 1916 in New York. Do you know his actual name?
Oh, Kirk Douglas is?
It is far,
I knew this recently.
Far from Kirk Douglas.
Yes.
Much more Jewish.
Herman Schmendel.
Very close. It was Isher Danielovich Dembski.
Wow. Right off the tongue.
He made his screen debut in 1946, produced and starred in Paths of Glory and Spartacus. He was nominated for 3 Oscars, never won. He received an honorary Oscar in 96. And, of course, he suffered a debilitating stroke in 96. He worked until 2004.
Hey, let me ask a insulting question. Back then, it was so much about the chin and the jawline and the look and the hair and the body and the physique and stuff. How much real acting, and even in the style back then, because you think about, you do what you look. I look at it like sports. Like you go, that running back from the 50s, how would he have held up in today's NFL? It's like, that's not a fair question. He did well. He did well in this era, and that's what he did. He did as well too. But some people are gifted actors, and then some people just look the part. And
like Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, and because of the system, you can get away with that part.
But he was able to dance and sing, and you had to be kind of like a triple threat back then too.
It is true. Like when you go back and look at some shit that Dick Van Dyke did, like back in the day, you're like, wow, this guy's a major talent. Like
Danny Kaye,
right?
Gene Kelly is the gold standard.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you just have to be able to act. You don't have to have any other talent,
and you have to be swole.
Yeah,
you would be
swole
yoked.
Works.
And there was good acting back then. Jimmy Stewart was, a great actor.
Oh,
yeah.
A lot of people will say no.
A lot of people.
Perhaps he was directed not so well in his some of his endeavors.
He didn't have that Kirk Douglas physique, though. He's never known for that.
Yeah. Anyway, God, he made it a long time.
103.
He was convincing in pretty much every role. As stiff as he was in Spartacus, but he was great in Paths of Glory and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. We were just talking about that.
Oh, right.
Oh,
yeah. Those undersea movies were such a big deal when I was a kid. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole other world. The 6th and final accuser in the Harvey Weinstein rape trial took the stand on Wednesday, signaling that the prosecution's case is probably winding down. Model Lauren Young testified that the movie mogul lured her to his hotel room. Yes.
No, finish.
In 2013, trapped her in the bathroom while he masturbated and told her, quote, "How am I going to know if you can act?" This is what all the actresses do.
Act disgusted.
Act terrified.
Yeah, exactly. Young also confirmed Jessica Mann's earlier testimony about...
He took her to Splooge City.
Oh,
that's all he was.
That's right.
He was just blocking the door.
That's right.
It was a stunt.
She confirmed the story about the genitalia situation. She said, quote, "I remember his body was hairy with moles. He had a disgusting looking penis, like he had been cut, not a normal looking scar from a circumcision." She added that she didn't notice that he had testicles. Weinstein faces numerous charges, and if convicted, he could get a life sentence. But as Mark Garrigus said, it doesn't look like it's going that way, at least for people in the courtroom.
This being able to, I feel like being able to pull off, to completion masturbation while participating in other activities like blocking doors,
scaring
pushing
women.
people into corners and stuff like that. Yeah, like if somebody said, "Hey, Ace Man, you can run in place and beat off," I'd be like, no,
not yet.
Not yet.
I could work my way up.
That's why in Jackass, the most impressive stunt was the dude who was running track and took a dump.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's impossible. How did he do that?
Isn't that done? Isn't he no longer with us? Wasn't it that?
Might be.
I feel like there's women who do that and in donut shops and when they're jogging.
What?
But they stop and do it.
Right.
Saying like
this is something that never gets brought up, and it's probably not a great thing to bring up. But we know that if he has to have a woman locked in the bathroom to get off, like he went through some pretty gnarly shit to get to that place to begin with. What happened to this guy? What happened to him?
Yeah, it's interesting because
AndersonCowan comes out in favor of Harvey Weinstein.
I think that he was victimized at some point or another, and no one talks about that.
You see things when you do Loveline enough. You see things through the eyes of the people who are there and heard all the calls and stuff. And when you start hearing these stories, like you go, Terry Crews, it's like, what's up with Terry Crews? I was like, well, he has a little bit of a body dysmorphic disorder. Like he's constantly like shaking his pecs and moving his biceps.
And he got Me Too'd,
like that.
Right?
And then, he Me Too'd.
Then he gets checked in to rehab for pornography addiction at age 44, and then no one can figure out he's at a cocktail party in Beverly Hills and like some agent slaps him in the nuts, and then there's a lawsuit and the guy gets thrown out of show business and stuff like this, and this all feels like former victim. This all feels like something happened in the past that's triggering things. Sometimes it comes out in the form of addiction. Sometimes it's a victimhood. There's something going on. And so I generally agree that when people's sexuality takes a turn for a direction that's kind of confusing to us, like you go, why would you speed off on a thing with a thing? Or like, how could
Into a
you know?
rubber tree.
When you go like, how could you do this?
Right.
Like, how could you do this? Yeah, there's usually something in the past that led you there.
And his brother been real quiet.
Wouldn't you be?
Yes, but that's the thing. It's like when you're talking about in terms of childhood or history or just all of this. And weren't there rumors, I don't know whether it was confirmed or not, that his brother was the one who originally dropped the dime about all this? So I don't know. There's something there.
Oh, he's the whistleblower?
There was talk.
Really?
So, yeah.
I was going to say, interesting hypothetical posed by one AndersonCowan on the Film Vault this week. If Harvey Weinstein were to die in the next year, would he be in the in memoriam section of the Oscars?
I think people would get up and leave.
He's a multiple Oscar winner.
Yeah, I mean, I asked that as a joke. There's no way.
No, that's a fascinating question because we were thinking. I was thinking who's going to be left off this year, and I always try and guess. My best guess is Rip Torn because they kind of there was some weird stuff there by the end, and let's just leave it alone. If Harvey Weinstein were to die,
There's no way.
No way.
Really?
Zero chance.
He's a member of the Academy. He won multiple Oscars.
So what?
I can't
He's a
say
pariah.
zero chance, but I've never. I don't. It's
People start booing.
It's something to discuss. I would say it would be the first time they preface the in memoriam. Normally they go, "Please hold your applause. Don't throw any
Standing
shit at the
ovations.
screen."
Hold your tomatoes.
Yeah, like it'd be the first time they had to swing it the other way and yell, "Don't fucking get up and throw a chair." Right.
So, notorious Ponzi scheme kingpin Bernie Madoff asked a judge on Wednesday to let him out of prison early because he says he's dying from terminal kidney disease and would like to live the remainder of his life with a friend. Madoff's lawyer said in a legal filing that his client has less than 18 months to live and has numerous other serious medical conditions.
What's cooler in the Italian last name history department? Your grandfather was a guy who invented the jacuzzi. He's Giuseppe Jacuzzi, or he's Brad Ponzi.
I think that is infamous at best.
It is, but it's kind of
I
cool.
would much rather have the jacuzzi.
Nobody would ever do business with you.
Yeah.
Well, one is more interesting and in the news, and I'm like, jacuzzis leading the news.
That's true. One definitely comes up more
There's
often.
a jacuzzi scheme. They fell prey to. If that was your thing, or like, hey, Ponzi, that's my grandfather came up with that.
Wow.
And also, I think the original Ponzi wasn't as bad as his.
It morphed.
It was a pyramid scheme, wasn't it? Like he just collected money from people.
He shook
his
down.
Involved stamps, I think.
Was it?
His involved like getting paid to bring stamps or something.
I thought it was jacuzzis.
Oh, he actually imported
Ponzi.
jacuzzis and
the Ponzi
promised
scheme.
people. He'd take 10 people and promise them a jacuzzi, but only 9 of them.
They
would
find 10 people.
Right, they'd have to go find
One
another
couple
guy's
was
back hurt.
left out in the cold.
I'd take either one over Carolla myself, but Ponzi would be fun cocktail.
Yeah, party talk.
Is Ponzi just gone? Did the name just drop off? Kind of like Hitler?
No, there's Ponzi.
Are there still
schemes.
Ponzi's out there?
No, but are there
name.
like
The family
are there
name.
kids
Humans.
in your kids' class with the last name Ponzi?
Maybe they pulled a Carollo because I went to high
Ponzo.
school with Chris Ponzo.
Oh, I was kidding.
Chris Ponzo.
Yeah, that's what they may have done.
Yeah.
A lot of Micks were dropped back in the day too. Like I think my family was McCowan, but they dropped the Mick because of the hatred of the Micks back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are there any Ponzi's alive, or what year did he do as Ponzi? Did it involve something with postage and coming from the old world to the new world was my recollection of it. But anyway.
20s,
Well, this one, Madoff is 81, and he's in a North Carolina federal facility serving 150 years. He pleaded guilty in 2009 to 11 crimes related to swindling of billions of dollars from thousands of investors over several decades. And these were everyone from, business people to people living on their nest egg and retirement.
A lot of
retirees. Now they're in their mid-80s and they're working at, Walmart.
Sad. Brian, you should be rooting for this to happen, for them to let him out because of his terminal deal, so that if you get convicted of anything, you have
that's really the goal. Although
you can point to
the kidney thing is ridiculous. Fucking Osama bin Laden lived for years in a goddamn cave with kidney disease.
Well, of course, it's ridiculous. I mean,
But I hope you.
Yeah, Madoff and Cosby, both kids dead.
Yeah, that's right.
Madoff's kid killed himself. And in
by
weird
his
ways,
own hand, but because of Bernie's actions, though. That's the big
no, I'm
difference.
saying it's like that's the ultimate punishment.
Yeah.
Like you can't really be punished any more than humiliating your kid so much that your kid kills himself while he's out of prison and you're in prison, and that's its own life sentence, right?
I saw the HBO Bernie Madoff movie. Very average to below.
Dreyfus?
No, De Niro.
Oh.
De Niro
I think
played
there were
Bernie
a couple.
Madoff. It was below average. The scene where the son hangs himself with his kid in the room, harrowing. Like truly,
Kid was in the room.
at least according to the movie,
Oh, wow.
which I have to imagine is based on fact to some degree.
Any Ponzi still alive, Max Bada?
We know he had 6 kids. We're checking to see if they're
Wow, yeah,
That's
probably some
Facebook,
Ponzi's.
Populating. Madonna got into another battle over going on stage far past her bedtime, but this time with a London theater that tried to pull the plug on the whole show before it was over. So she got all pissed and F-bombed this and F you guys, and the sound was cut and the curtain started falling. So she was only an hour late this time, so she was indignant that they let her finish the show. Fans were at the gig. They tweeted about it. They said the Palladium staff just turned everything off, leaving her arguing with them before she decided to take back to the stage in the front of the curtain and sing a song, I Rise, with an unplugged microphone. Someone managed to get footage. Which
Can you hear me in the back?
Which is crazy because, she makes you lock up your phone. So here's the very end of the performance. And then she has some words for the people.
Looks like a recital.
Why is she still holding the mic?
Oh, wait. Yeah, power to the people who I don't care about because I show up to my shows 3 hours late.
The power's been cut.
Let me tell you who's enabling. Having a huge gay following. It turned Elton John into a bitch, It turns everyone
Kathy
into
Griffin?
bitches.
He was okay so far.
Yeah, so far I haven't.
Look at a
hoisted my
band
own
like
petard.
Yeah, so you lose perspective because this ravenous group that will follow you anywhere. Now, Nickelback, that band is grounded. They show up a half hour. They show up for sound
They're
check.
Canadian lumberjacks
going,
They open their own shows.
They open their own
They
shows.
open for themselves.
They break down their own equipment.
They break it down. They're never
Load in,
tardy.
load out.
Do we know why everyone hates Nickelback? I'm still confused by it. I mean, they're not the greatest
No,
band, but not the worst band.
Save for Creed.
They became the Ishtar of bands.
How
They're
does
not
that happen?
Bad. They're not that bad.
How does
No,
that
but
happen?
it did happen. I think the lead guy from Nickelback.
Was he a dick?
They're a C to a C minus, but they're treated like an F.
Which one was the Christian band?
I'm not
That's
even
Creed.
saying
Okay.
they're bad. I'm saying they're the straightest band I could come
Yeah.
up with, and all the comedians and
Yeah.
singers who get the massive gay following. At some point, they get off the rails a little.
Get
They
bitchy.
turn into bitchy divas.
Yeah.
I think it was. April 2003. Oh yeah, Chad Kroger. I guess
Was with Avril Lavigne.
I remember one of those guys. I could be screwing it up. Nickelback or the other guy.
That was Scott Stapp.
A very vivid memory of pulling up in my brand new M3, and I pulled up in my brand new BMW M3, and it was a big deal because I never had nice cars or new cars, growing up, and I think I brought Drew. I said, come out to the parking lot, check this out, and he had pulled up in a used Mitsubishi Starion or something. And I was saying to Drew, look at this. Straight six, 240 horsepower, got the Alcantara headliner or whatever. And then this guy from Nickelback was going, hey, when I hit the remote, the car automatically locks and unlocks the doors. And then Drew was looking, hey, that's a nice feature. And then I go, yeah, but back over here.
Keyless entry.
Cruise control, 5-speed.
No crank window.
Sequential gear shift. And then the other guy'd go, this thing has a feature that you can roll the windows up even after you pull the key out for third. And Drew would start looking, and I was like, don't steal my thunder. You have a used
You won,
Starion. Yeah,
You won because Drew ended up getting the same car as you.
he
right?
got an M5. Yeah. It was like a Dodge Stealth. It was kind of a shitty
Very,
90s, early 90s car that he bought 2 years old. And I just remember he kept pointing at shit that his car had when I was trying to tell Drew about my brand new car. And I just remember thinking, what a douche. But I can't remember which one it was.
I remember
Nickelback
Slash
or the other guy.
It was probably Nickelback. That's a very Nickelback thing to do, isn't it? I remember Slash rolling up in his Dodge Viper, and it was like kind of banged up. And I'm like, "Geez, what happened?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is my beater," and he just like kicked a dent in the side of it. I'm like, Slash, he just has a beater Dodge Viper. That's a level of success, right?
It's appetite for destruction money.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I remember that. I also remember, I think, saying to Slash, like he went like, "I got a Ferrari Testarossa," and I was like, "Oh, really? What year?" And he's like, "I don't know."
Casual.
That's rock and roll.
Seth Green would always show up in his Honda Civic. We always liked that.
Oh yeah,
Salt of the earth.
Yeah.
the Chad Kroeger Nickelback 2003. Yeah, could have been.
I would have been there.
Could have been.
Very tangentially related, but it's one of the stories that makes me laugh the most. And I don't think you were there for it, but Anderson, you've told the story where I think it was you and Wee Man were outside. The preface to the story is, Anderson, Adam, you would remember this perhaps because there was a man who worked at Westwood One around the same time as us who was extremely handicapped.
He'd fill in for me sometimes. Dave Amaya.
Oh yeah.
He had like he had the prosthetic leg.
Missing both legs.
He had prosthetic legs. He had I think like a deformed arm.
3 fingers on each hand.
Yeah, he was severely handicapped.
Yeah.
And fast forward to Anderson sitting outside with Wee Man.
And Steve-O. And
no.
we were smoking cigarettes and just being fools. And Wee Man's kind of his chest puffed out a little bit. And
Very little.
This little Mini Cooper pulls up and goes into the handicap spot. And Wee Man's like, "What the fuck? This guy better be really fucked up, man, because you don't just park in a handicap spot." And then I'm like, "Oh, just wait, Wee Man, just wait." And the door swings open and 2 like prosthetic legs hit the ground. And Dave stands up and he's like, "Oh, okay, you're cool."
Were you there the night I kicked the thermostat off the wall?
I was.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I took all the blame for that, and I was the one who was getting screamed at by Lycus and his crew the entire next day.
Oh,
Everyone blamed Anderson.
Why was Lycus in there after we were in there, or what was
Lycus
that?
was in like in the afternoon, and then we'd show up.
He would often be there
right.
drinking
and we'd
afterwards.
break the AC constantly. We'd put it up too high, and it would somehow catch fire.
Too low or whatever.
And Dino and Gary would take the hit.
Yeah. Well, no, Anderson would.
Oh,
And then-
Anderson
and,
would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lycus would yell about everybody.
They put it in a sneeze guard little
Yeah.
booth.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us
They wouldn't let us at it.
They wouldn't
but
let us
I
turn
got
up the
to
AC.
it. I got to it with my foot. But the follow-up to that story was always funny, which is I was using a Zephyr at the time.
Oh, the remote.
The size of a attaché case. It was like $10,000. You plug a phone line into it and dial it up.
ISDN line.
Yeah, and I could call Howard Stern's show and just be on. And that night at about midnight or 11:45 or something, I got up on the console and I just kicked the thing off the wall, the whole thermostat with the plastic shroud around it and everything. And then I found myself at home in my office at 2:45. So I was supposed to call into Stern at 3 a.m., our time, 6 when he started. And I'd sit in on his entire 5-hour show off of sleeping an hour. I had to sit in my office with a beach towel over my head for acoustics. And so here we are.
What an image.
Doing Howard Stern. I literally had a ceiling fan over me in my office. I had hardwood floors and blah, blah,
you're
blah.
screwed.
And I took a series of beach towels and I just hung them over the ceiling fan. So I was in a dome.
Like a canopy.
A 3-foot wide dome of
mosquito net.
beach towels
Yeah.
that completely
The yurt.
changed the dynamic. Right. So I get home at 12:30. I kick the thing off the wall at like 11:45. I come home at 12:30.
Eventful night.
And sleep for an hour. Get up. It's now like 2:50, and I'm trying to dial up Stern, and I can't get the fucking thing to work. So I call back to Westwood One and guy engineer, because you could call Westwood One. They had an overnight engineer, and he'd like talk you through or patch me in or whatever. And the guy picks up the phone, and I go, "Hey man, got time crunch here. I got a little emergency. I'm supposed to be on Stern. I got the Zephyr. I got a call in. I'm getting a busy signal. Can you help me out?" And he goes, Maybe you should have thought about that before you kicked the thermostat off the wall 2 hours ago.
Video evidence of that as well.
Of course.
Right.
It
And
might
I'm
be on the internet.
I was like, look, maybe that was me. Maybe it wasn't. We're not
Let's not
here to
quibble
determine
now.
that now.
It's not important.
It's just so rare that you destroy something in a room and then call 2 hours later back, I need your help.
Yeah.
Like, usually there's a couple days buffer.
You can
in
only
that.
hope.
That was
Yeah.
a great conversation to have.
Ron Harris.
Oh, that was Ron Harris.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
Let me tell you about. Yeah, I wasn't in a good mood that night. Let me tell you about Zorro. I used to come back to Westwood One to do Stern before they got me a Zephyr.
I didn't
That's
know
a
that.
lot of driving.
And you do it by yourself? You just go in the studio by yourself and plug it in?
I would drive from Westwood One. We'd leave at midnight or whatever, if we weren't going to Poo Poo City. And I would drive back to the Hollywood Hills under the Hollywood sign. I'd get home about 12:30. Watch TV for about an hour, sleep for about an hour, get up at 2:30, drive right back down to Westwood One, go in there, and I think Ron Harris was probably overnighting, just sitting in the thing. I'd walk into the studio at 3. He'd dial Stern up, and then I'd sit in that studio for 5 hours. I'd do Stern from 6 a.m. to, he'd like sign off at 11 or 11:15 if he went long or something. And then I'd just walk out and it'd be daylight. And I could always remember driving home thinking, oh, this is much worse than drunk driving. I am so
groggy.
far from being right
Yeah.
behind the wheel of this.
It's impaired
and,
for sure.
Yeah, I slept for 1 hour and I did 2 hours of radio, slept for 1 hour, and then did 5 hours of radio. And I used to sometimes just listen to Stern thinking, I'm just listening to Stern.
You think that you're just
You're
like a fan.
I
at
felt like
home.
I fell asleep in my truck on a job site.
Right.
I was like listening
You were like
to
Homer
Stern.
Simpson in the bed, just floating away.
Yep. It's funny. I have no recollection of anything we've ever talked about on all those appearances, on all those hours, or who the guests were, or I have zero. The first thing goes is your memory. There's one joke. I've said the joke a few times doing stand-up, so it's semi-fresh in my mind. But the only joke I ever remember making is, what year, Max Zapata, was the Beltway or the DC Sniper? That guy must have been like 05 or 04.
That's 2002.
2002.
Wow.
Okay. It was 2002. I was doing Loveline and doing Stern, and Robin, it was just me, Stern, and Robin. I was sitting in for the news, but I was just in sort of on the mic the whole day. And she was talking about the Beltway Sniper. And she was like, this guy's shooting people walking to the mailbox. He's shooting people sitting at the bus stop, shooting people at gas stations. He's not preying on streetwalkers or runaways or anything. He's just shooting random people all the time. People are freaked out. And she goes, Howard, what do we tell the children? And I go, tell him he only shoots kids that don't clean their room. And Robin goes, what's that? What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
What's wrong with you?
Hey, Robin, tell him he only shoots kids that don't clean their room.
I'm sorry, I know you're a comedian, but this is highly inappropriate. There's a time and place for a joke like that. And Howard, I don't know, why is he still on the phone?
Hey, look, he's not going to shoot your kid. You're going to get a clean room, and the kid doesn't have to run serpentine to the 5th grade. You're welcome.
Be that as it may, I think that comedy is tragedy plus time. This is happening right now. What is wrong with you?
I'm Fred over here.
That's like a Bluth family disaster, or like Wrinkles the Clown. That's what parents do with the Wrinkles the Clown.
That's
they
right.
threaten
They'll
that
come
Wrinkles
get ya.
the Clown's going to come over if they don't clean the room.
Did we bring it? Let's bring it home, Gina
You
Grad.
got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
It's all right. I'll take it in the front.
That was the news with Gina Grad.